And join us next week for the Fantasy Rearmed, where Shad tests the bikini armor for us.
I do that in my own private time. One of the obvious things, if this armor actually was made out of real metal, she would not be able to raise her arms, okay? First, if she raises this much, these curved things are going to stab into, her shoulders. So there's a first massive problem. But not only that, she wouldn't be able to do this. Now, of course, she does do it because it's made out of a type of polyurethane in reality. But that's not what it's supposed to be made out in the show. It's supposed to be made out of metal. I could see, they're kind of going for the corset look and something like that. And yeah, maybe if it was made out of a different material, you could sell it, but they're trying to make it out of armor. And so I'm wondering, how could she even bend her waist then? Because there's no actual, connection or separations in it and stuff. And then she wouldn't be able to raise her arms up higher. And the other thing that would be really awkward is just lifting the legs, like at a 90-degree angle, like that, right? There are some examples, historically, of armor being made that covers the whole pelvis area. One of the examples is like King Henry V's armor, I believe, and they generally have integrated cod pieces because fashion. Got to have fashion.
Schlong armor.
Meme Lord knows all about the good old schlong armor. Do you have a set of your own there, Meme Lord?
Oh yeah, I have several different sets. Some of them are tighter than other ones.
We're not going to go into detail. My imagination is already giving me nightmares. So, back to Wonder Woman's, okay? Imagine you trying to bend or sit in this armor. Because it's like one solid piece around the pelvis area, those side bits are just going to dig right into your legs. And you wouldn't be able to sit in it. And so it would be awkward. Funnily enough, if you have a look at an action figure or even a Lego figurine and how their legs move up and down, you'll see the pelvis kind of comes in a T and down to allow room for the legs to move. That's almost like what you'll need to do on armor if you're going to go full pelvis all the way under instead of a fold where it just hangs down over top. So the other way is if you had some type of folding metal right there that would fold up with your legs, but we don't see that here at all. It's not there. So from a practical design perspective, this armor is just garbage. If a design is that bad, it just deserves to be pointed out. And why? Specifically why? If this armor was real and wasn't made out of plastic, these are the actual problems you would have. Which would just this is terrible. Because I love fantasy armor, but this is where you want to strike the balance between fantasy and also practicality. And a great video is by Knight Errant. And he actually helps design a fantasy set of armor. He has a whole video on it with a costume maker, and they make this beautiful thing. And some of the key principles are there. For instance, actually being able to raise your arms and other things. And so it's a great resource. Go check it out.
Say what you will about like the hyper revealing fantasy armor of women, usually, but at least there's some movement in there. With this, it looks like she can't move at all.
You have a very good point. And so, question, chat. I'd love to hear what would be better, the armor that we're seeing Wonder Woman here, or bikini armor?
Bikini armor. I vote bikini armor for Gal Gadot. I vote bikini armor.
Well, someone actually said that the armor was specifically designed to make her feminine features pop.
Well, the thing is, armor was designed to present physical features and even emphasize them. Again, schlong armor, okay? If it happened in the past, if women wore armor enough in the past, there would have been armor designed to emphasize this shape, but because they're not idiots, they would also design it to make it functional. This armor is not. But Meme Lord definitely votes for bikini armor over the Wonder Woman Gal Gadot armor. What was the general consensus on Wonder Woman armor versus bikini armor?
They all agree bikini armor would be more effective.
I wonder why.
Bikini armor, max mobility.
That's the thing. That's an interesting question. Mobility. Like, if this armor was real, she would barely be able to move, let alone walk. So she wouldn't really be able to fight because you need full arm mobility, full leg mobility. Yeah, if it was metal, you could say it'd give her a measure of protection, but if you can't move, you're going to be stuffed anyway. So I actually think, just from a functional perspective, bikini armor would seem to be more functional.
Can I just point out one thing about Wonder Woman too? She can tank one shot from, I don't know, Superman, who can put holes in tanks. But she can't block bullets with her skin. She has to use the metal.
Yeah, it's like, so in Justice League, she tanks a headbutt from Superman. And we don't know how much strength Superman is putting into it, apart from observing the impact it has on her. And she gets sunk into concrete and it cracks the concrete, okay? Now, Superman, technically, if he wanted to, he could have headbutted her strong enough to crack the earth. And who knows, it might have been. But at the very least, we were just to go off what we see. That is an insane amount of force, and she just, she survived it. Okay, of course, I can't remember if she was actually hurt or injured, or dazed, but certainly knocked down, and she survived. And that impact is way stronger than several bullets. Yet,
well, if you go by continuity, in what's that really awful movie with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill, Batman vs Superman? She gets smacked down by who's Apocalypse? Not Apocalypse. Grey Thanos in that movie. she gets smacked around by him left, right, and center, and she's fine. If anything, I think the armor's probably holding her back. Bikini armor might be too much.
Yeah, that could unleash her ultimate powers.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
That's the whole femininity thing they were going for, wasn't it? She needed to remove the chip from her neck to unlock her full strength.
That was in another movie that I also didn't think was too great.
It was the same movie. Come on now.